my god. This is it. No! Man, that was so cool, though. If I could just have hit with the snake style, that would have been the best fucking juggle style switching you've ever seen.
Your gang was out there searching for some guy in a picture. Oh. How'd that hunt end up turning out? He was some kind of girls' bar manager, wasn't he? It sounded like he'd disappeared from Kamurocho more than a few years back. You have any luck tracking him down?
We actually found that he's unfortunately dead. Likely murdered. Considering Kamurocho's reputation and the nature of his profession, I can't say I'm all that surprised.
It's nothing so mysterious. I was just on my way to work when some man grabbed my butt. That's all it was.
Nothing else was out of the ordinary that day?
Correct.
Not to pry, but where is your husband today?
Still at work? He usually doesn't get home until later. On that note, I have to feed my son, so let's get this wrapped up soon.
We'll try our best to.
Before getting into the fairy tale videos, which would be right after this, I had to go and get something now. Like, man, I'm hungry. So I got some food now, and I'm gonna be eating in the middle of the recording here. I'll be muted, of course, but Yui Mamiya's story lines up with her testimony from the trial. But there is one thing that it contradicts. This? I don't know.
Well, on the same day, at 6:30 a.m. in Yokohama, a student teacher named Hiro Mikoshiba was sent off to work by his mother. But he was soon abducted near his home, only to be found dead much later in Ijincho.
Is that...
According to the video, Nahara-san here is the murderer.
what?
He killed Mikoshiba in cold blood to get vengeance for his bullied son. His kid was about to graduate high school, but instead, he took his own life. So Ihara took it upon himself to punish his son's tormentor.
That's awful.
But now we come back to the issue here. If this footage is authentic, then Ihara-san couldn't have been your assailant. The victim's estimated time of death and Ihara-san's time of arrival in Tokyo simply don't allow for it. It's just not possible for someone to make that commute. But there's the flip side. If Ihara-san was in fact your assailant, it would mean this murder footage is a fabrication.
I don't know what you expect me to say after all this.
Right? Now you know how we're feeling. That's why we came to see if you had any leads for us.
So that's what this is about.
After hearing your story, I have no doubt you endured a lot that day. Which would obviously mean that murder video was faked.
Then, who shared that video? And why?
Wish I knew. Based on the quality, something this convincing would need quite a budget. Whether it's CG on top of real murder footage, or just a rock-solid AI creation, no way it was cheap. So why go through all this effort to fake a murder? Who would benefit from it? But I have to say, I feel much closer to piecing this puzzle together with your...
Oh my god. Wait. The footage was released recently. If she wanted to solidify, if she knew the whole situation, and she wanted to solidify this dude going to prison, in any way, if she thought that a video of her, of him going and doing the murder, that would put him away, she would think he'd be done, he's going away. She would never be able... that he would never be able to get back on the streets to do things to her again or any other woman. Either she knows how to do that AI shit or her husband does. Oh my god. That's probably what could have happened. We need to have a look at her computer.
help today. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, and rest assured, this will be the last time you see us. Our apologies for the unexpected visit, and for dredging up unpleasant memories.
It's fine. So long as this is really the end of it all.
Okay, wait, hold up. But how would she get the footage in the first place? I'm an idiot.
I'd like to report Mamiya-san's account to the rest of the team. Can I count on you to be there?
Sure. Let me give Kaito-san a heads up.
All right, then I'll see you there.
Yo, it's me.
Hey, I just got back to Kamurocho. Everything good? Any news?
All good here, man. What's with you? You worried Arcade got to me or something?
I mean, they did run their mouths about stabbing us in the back. But if you're good, I'm good. Anyway, I'm heading to Genda so Sari-san and I can go over what we learned from Mamiya.
You're the boss. As for me, I'm calling it a day.
You do that.
We got a mini boss on the street now.
Are we ready, Yagami-san? Let's start with our visit to Mamiya-san, if that sounds reasonable to you.
Yeah, let's start there.
So, the victim's story is completely in line with her court testimony, huh?
That's correct. There wasn't anything new to pick up.
Unfortunately.
In which case, should we look into the murder video instead? Like, figure out how they made it?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Whether that tape's fake or real, someone had to put it online, right? Do we have any theories on who that might be?
Well, the footage showed enough of the surroundings to make the crime scene clear. As somebody who's been there, I can confirm that the blood splotches match what you see in the footage. Which means...
Who uploaded Ihara's murder footage to the internet? The cops could be in on it in some way.
the murderer's accomplices have to be the ones who posted it for him.
Yeah, I can't see it any other way.
I also agree with Yagami-san.
But in that case, what would their motive be?
Maybe they wanted to make a mockery of the police, or even the whole system.
Huh?
We know Ihara got himself convicted for groping, so he'd have an alibi for Mikoshiba's killing. But then, his conspirators turned it around by uploading the murder video online. Almost as if to say, look how he got away with it.
I see. Yeah, that does make it sound like he's taunting them.
That's well and good, but I'd like to shift gears. Let's talk about the actual fabrication of the video. How does one go about that?
Well, for example, the true culprit would be taped murdering Mikoshiba. Then Ihara's face would be copied and blended onto the killers. That's how they'd approach it in a Hollywood movie.
But then, wouldn't you be able to see traces of it being faked?
Tsukumo-san reported that he's found nothing of the sort in his analysis.
We've been down this road before. If we take the stance that the footage is fabricated, we have absolutely nothing to work with.
Then let's tackle this from the stance that the video's actually real. If that's the case, there has to be a flaw in the groping issue. I think we've collected enough evidence to find it too.
So, what does this do for us?
Once Ihara entered the Ikebukuro gates at 7:43 a.m. and stepped onto the platform, he was continuously monitored on camera. But if he really killed Mikoshiba at 7:30 like we saw, there's no way he could have reached Ikebukuro in time. That would mean the person in the footage isn't Ihara, but an impersonator.
So that's not really him?
Yeah, he's got the sunglasses and hat to help sell the disguise.
Wait, if that's the case, after murdering Mikoshiba, wouldn't Ihara have to swap places with the stand-in sometime before being detained? but we didn't see any opportunity for that. Multiple cameras saw Ihara move right up to Mamiya-san as they board the train in Ikebukuro. And the onboard camera recorded them for the entire commute. Not only was the act caught on tape, but his failed escape from the scene was recorded as well. Ultimately, Ihara was pinned down before leaving Mamiya-san's sight, so she had an eye on him the whole time.
Right. So the current belief is that Ihara was caught on camera the entire time he was at the station.
But wait, that's not entirely accurate, is it?
Huh?
There's no... But Ihara wasn't constantly on camera between Ikebukuro Station and Shinjuku. And the proof is... Nah, no way! It really is gonna be the phone footage! Because... No way!
Take a look at this.
I'm not sure why you're showing us this. There's not a moment when Ihara's off camera.
Well, you got that
Sad as it
wrong.
may be, such a major transit hub is bound to have tons of surveillance nowadays.
Yeah. You nailed the exact point I wanted to make here.
Which was...
What? The phone did go down, so that was actually a clear time that he wasn't on the camera. But this is also the truth where a camera couldn't see him.
Remember how we mocked up a diagram of the Shinjuku Station platform?
Yeah. Oh, wait! That's it! You could be onto something. There's a point where Ihara wasn't on camera at all.
You can't be serious.
What is this point you speak of?
Let's all go over the diagrams.
Wait. Before they get into it. Okay, so say Mamiya is not in this at all. How did Ihara get here and able to swap with the person? Wait, no. That can't be... But he was caught. He had the fibers of the woman's stuff on him. How does this one gonna make sense? I kind of liked my theory better.
Everything
What
will
are
be
they gonna
clear.
tell us?
Here's what I want you to see. Hey,
Right here. But he was still being chased, though. I don't quite... This is the spot I'm looking for.
it's very brief, but there's a moment where Ihara and Mamiya-san can't be seen by the security cameras. The dotted lines on the arrow represent the camera's blind spot.
It does appear so. So you're saying this is where the groper, the fake Ihara, traded places with the real one?
This...
Can't say it's
Can't-
impossible, right?
Right. Except if that actually happened, Mamiya-san would have been right behind them at the time. Could the two really swap places without her noticing?
In a crowd like that, I think it's feasible.
If that really was Ihara's plan, then I'd say he was being careless.
How do you explain the fibers? Did they...
Careless? How?
Did he have gloves on? No, I don't think he did.
Well,
What, did they just slap hands against each other as he ran?
on the day of the incident, the station was packed for morning rush hour. That means there was no solid guarantee the assailant could make the switch. He could have been nailed by any random passerby before reaching the blind spot.
Yeah.
Good point. Not only that, if Mamiya-san had called for help while the train was still moving, then the first Ihara would have been caught before even reaching the platform.
Oh, I mean, yeah! Called it.
Think about it, Yagami-san. Why would Ihara's accomplices meticulously plan out every last detail of this alibi, only to leave such a crucial component to chance, as Hoshino-kun pointed out?
Oh, just doing my job.
True. Good work, Hoshino-kun. In fact, I think that may back up my own take on it.
Yeah?
What if everything, including the appearance of leaving the plan to chance, was part of the plan?
Can you expound on that?
I'm saying I agree that such an airtight alibi wouldn't have allowed for contingencies. And that takes the question to another level. Just how far did they line up the pieces in advance to make the swap work?
Are you saying there's more to it than we discussed? What did we miss?
Okay, I'd say that's a bit stretching.
I know this won't go over well, but what if Mamiya was colluding with Ahara all along?
Huh?
Bear with me. Let's say Mamiya was in on this, and knew about the imposter in advance. If that's the case, a swap could happen right in front of her, and no one but the three of them would know.
You're saying the victim of a groping conspired with her assailant beforehand? That's ridiculous.
Nah, see, I'm telling you, I know this. It's not a suggestion I'm fond of, but I have to consider the possibility of Mamiya playing a part in the conspiracy.
Let me just say, I'm only trying to work out how a swap like that would be guaranteed to work. Now, if Ahara and his stand-in both know that Mamiya will pretend not to have seen them, they can trade places in the blind spot with impunity. Conversely, if Mamiya wasn't in on the plan, the idea of a swap would never work. We can say with certainty that she would have seen the swap, so... She could have even called attention to the real Ahara the moment he stepped in. That way, the people around her would be focused on chasing the correct assailant. The rest is as we know it. They caught Ahara and detained him until the police showed up.
Hold that thought. If your theory is accurate, what about Ahara's trace evidence?
Swap
Remember
heads
that
with each
fibers
other as
of
they
the
went.
victim's underwear were detected on his hand.
Well, that can also be explained by Mamiya being in on the plan. For example, while the stand-in was showing himself at the security cameras, Mamiya could have easily provided Ahara access to a pair of underwear at the same time.
Oh.
Maybe the stand-in loitered around for so long because he was letting everyone else get themselves in place.
It's not impossible.
We can work out the other details later. But the point is, Ahara's murder alibi is shot if Mamiya was involved. In summary, it's possible Ahara disgraced himself to secure an unshakable alibi for Mikoshiba's murder.
Oh,
I'll
shit.
concede that it's an avenue worth pursuing.
See, I knew this was a
When
whole
it comes to the
possibility.
prosecution, they can't just admit they got the first case so wrong. Plus, they can't question Ahara about Mikoshiba's murder. In fact, their only option is to claim the tape was faked.
So he managed to make a farce out of the system after all.
Well, his court case for his son's bullying did get more or less thrown out, didn't it? The school, the investigative committee, and the court all agreed there wasn't enough evidence to convict anyone. No surprise for me that the guy held a grudge against the system for so long.
Hold on. Before we all decide on this,
What's up?
the obvious question to me is why would Mamiya be party to such a crime?
Got
She appears
paid.
more than financially stable, and she's even raising a child. So why would she do something so enormously risky as helping establish a murder alibi?
Bro, everybody wants more money. People are greedy as fuck, even if they have a kid.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that far yet. But maybe she was promised something that far exceeds the risk. Or maybe Ahara has some kind of dirt on her even?
Enough to make her help with a murder? What sort of secret would be big enough to force someone into that corner?
Hopefully not cheating on her husband. A 35-year-old patrolman and married office worker. And mother. The only connection between them so far is the train station itself.
What info do we have on Mamiya anyway? Maybe we can spot a connection to Ahara through her profile.
I'll pull her information. Just a second.
Oh, I just thought of something else those two would have guaranteed by working together.
What's that?
If Ahara wanted to use this crime as a murder alibi, he needed it to blow up into the public eye.
Yeah.
But if he had chosen a victim who stayed silent, then nothing would have come of it. A solid plan would need to eliminate that variable.
Yeah.
Which means Mamiya being an accomplice was crucial to Ahara's success.
That's true.
Looks like Ahara pulled one over on the prosecution then. Had his accomplices right where he wanted them, even his victim. Once we learn how he's connected to Mamiya, we can root out the rest of his team.
Let's see. According to her file, her maiden name is Yui Suzuki. 30 years old, so that's consistent. Originally from Ota, Tokyo. Attended a private high school called Kurakawa Academy. Later graduated from Toto University.
Huh.
Met her husband on the job, apparently. Her husband, Taichi Mamiya, is an industrial designer at Techno Zeta Inc. 6 years ago, she gave birth to their only son, Sotakun, who's now in first grade.
Hold on. You said she went to Kurakawa Academy? I heard that name in Ijincho. If I recall correctly... That's not where
Bruh.
was it? Before, closing himself off to the world?
Nah, Tsukumo-san studied remotely. He told me that when we were out having drinks one night.
Wait. Tsukumo went out drinking with you?
Yeah, we had fun.
What did you guys even talk about?
Hey, why am I getting grilled all of a sudden?
I agree. This is nowhere near relevant. Yagami-san, what were you saying about Kurokawa Academy?
Oh, right.
Where have I heard the name Kurokawa Academy? I could swear the school has come up recently.
When I went to scope out the murder scene, there were these 3 guys watching the detectives and me. They told us they were just checking things out. They mentioned they're Kurokawa grads too.
You have any ID on you?
Will my license work?
Akake-san, age 30.
Akaike-san, age 30. Mommy is 30 as well.
What's that got to do with anything? Aren't we trying to find a connection between Mamiya and Ohara?
I found the Kurokawa Academy website. Looks like they're pretty prestigious. It's in Tokyo, specifically in Ota. Pretty close to where Mamiya lived. Oh,
What?
the girls there get such cute uniforms.
You little... You want to start all over from the bar exam?
Wait, I've seen that uniform before too, actually.
Where?
On an old picture of a teacher at Seiryo High. Sawa-sensei. Ihara's son had confided in her. Is she actually a Kurokawa grad too? I don't know Sawa-sensei's exact age, but she could well be 30. Maybe all of them were even classmates.
Could this mean they're actually linked? The victim and her up-to-now unrelated assailant?
It's a tenuous link at best. Could fall apart any time. But no true detective alive would pass it up.
Oh, damn, Chapter 5 took no time to end. 2 hours, I mean.
A previously unseen link is established between the groper and the victim. Charting out their relationship is akin to tracing a spider's web. But with each false thread ruled out, only the improbable truth remains. Ihara orchestrated the groping as a diversion. And by tarnishing his name, he secures both an alibi and his ultimate revenge.
I tell you, man, I love making theories about how the story goes in these games. The same transition? This is why I think if I was actually, like, for some reason took up a actual investigative job like that, it's like, I would kind of feel bad for finding it exciting.
Hiro Mikoshiba's murder was sparked by the bullying of Toshiro Ihara, who committed suicide 4 years ago. The graphic video that hit the net showed the world how Toshiro's father, Akihiro Ihara, had brutally avenged his son. We also know the father had accomplices. On October 7th at 6:30 a.m., they forced Mikoshiba into a vehicle, took him to an abandoned building, and gravely injured him. Then, around 7:30 a.m., the time frame when Ihara killed Mikoshiba, the other conspirators were probably nearby, even though they weren't on camera.
At the same time, 30 kilometers away at Ikebukuro Station, a man who looks like Ihara is caught on camera. We'll call that guy the stand-in. The stand-in made sure he was in front of the cameras for more than an hour before boarding the 9:06 a.m. train, the same one Yui Mamiya was on. After committing sexual battery on that train, he meets the real Ihara in the camera's blind spot, and they change places. That's how he established a false alibi for Mikoshiba's murder. And to achieve this, the victim, Yui Mamiya, had to have been in on it from the start.
Sure are a lot of people getting their hands dirty for Ihara. Mamiya, Ihara stand-in on the train, the guys who kidnapped Mikoshiba. How did some troubled cop manage to recruit so many allies?
Well, one person that comes to mind who might be the key to all this is Yoko Sawa. She's a teacher at Seiryo High. She was the only adult Toshiro-kun ever told about the bullying, and she supervised Mikoshiba as a teacher before he disappeared. On top of that, she's a Kurokawa Academy graduate, same as Mamiya. Those trespassers at the murder scene were also from Kurokawa. Since they're all about the same age, it's possible they were all classmates.
So you're saying these classmates are also Ihara's murder accomplices?
If we consider Yoko Sawa the central link, that's very possible. We do know that as a teacher, she felt deep remorse for Toshiro-kun's suicide. Maybe she recruited her old classmates to help Ihara take his revenge.
Yeah, best not to rule that out. Though I'm hoping that's not the case.
Why is that?
It's just, she's a really good teacher. She's passionate, responsible. She's always putting the students first. I know she regrets the past, and a student died on her watch. And now another of her students, Mikoshiba, is found murdered. So if it turns out she's involved in that, I doubt I'll be able to trust my own judge of character ever again.
Yagami.
I'm going back to Ijincho tomorrow. The plan is to bring up Mamiya's name to Sawa-sensei and see how she reacts. Until then, let's not jump to conclusions about her involvement.
All right.
Can I chime in real quick? I was looking into Kurokawa Academy and I stumbled across something that may be relevant.
What's that?
Well, it happened 13 years ago, but there was an attempted suicide. A third year jumped off the school's roof after being thoroughly humiliated.
A bullying suicide from 13 years ago. Didn't Sawa-sensei mention that too? If I remember correctly, the student lived but remains in a coma to this day.
Actually, Sawa-sensei mentioned that. She said it was a boy in her class.
Right, that's gotta be the same case then. The student's name was Mitsuru Kusamoto. He's 30 now, but still in a coma.
Huh, and all that info's on the net?
It wouldn't be normally, but his mother happens to be Vice Minister of the Ministry of Health. Ever heard the name Reiko Kusamoto?
Not once.
I have. It was on the news. They were talking about her and her son.
Vice ministers rank above most government officials, so this one he has quite a position of power at the Ministry of Health.
Well, do you remember the uproar in the Health Ministry when Vice Minister Ichinose got arrested? Apparently, his successor couldn't contain the resulting chaos, which is when Kusamoto-san got tapped to lead. They couldn't afford another criminal scandal, so her promotion was out of the blue. She was a safe choice, a veteran with tenure and experience. Not to mention, her son's tragedy made people see her as a more sympathetic figure. Very popular. She's kind of a new generation heroine, so to speak.
Huh.
Is any of that relevant to the case at hand, though?
Who knows? But Reiko Kusamoto and Ihara both have children who were bullying victims. I don't think that's a connection we can afford to overlook, if you ask me.
Okay, so Kusamoto's son. What exactly happened to him?
Let's see. He was bullied by a fellow third year at his school, Shinya Kawai. The records say he harassed Mitsuru-kun every day, in and out of school. Well, one time he even stuffed dirty rags in his mouth.
That's so cruel.
Yeah, and the teacher was a real piece of work. Apparently he knew, but he just smirked and said, "Don't overdo it."
Oh, I remember now. The media pounced on that one hard.
If they were classmates, then both Sawa-sensei and Mamiya would know about this.
And maybe because they couldn't save Mitsuru-kun, their guilt left them open to Ihara's persuasion.
But to prove that, we'll have to hear from them directly. I'll talk to Sawa-sensei first thing tomorrow.
That'd be helpful. In the meantime, I'll be working on Ihara's appeal. It's clear they missed something important in the trial, since Ihara is apparently innocent of sexual battery. Being that he was out committing murder at the time.
What started as a simple harassment case sure has blown up big.
I'm hoping they give me a moment to save my game and stop, because that's it for the day. Guess I'll head back to the office. Nice, because that is actually it for Lost Judgment again, until I finish everything that is currently inside Zenless Zone Zero when it releases, which this video is supposed to be out either the day before or the day of. I really want to... Maybe I should just... At the very least, either something will be uploaded on that day that's not Zenless Zone Zero, or nothing will be uploaded on the day Zenless Zone Zero comes out, because I'm going to play the fuck out of it, and then, you know, deal with uploading it. Or I could just be like, let's make 5... Actually, I could just make 5 videos. No, because it'll be nighttime by the time I play, because it's coming out on Zach's birthday, so... I know what to do. I need to go into Fairy Tail now and record the 10 episodes, and it is 10 night, so it already took me like, well, it's 2 hours per 5 videos, so I did 4 hours here. I now need to do 4 hours in Fairy Tail.
'Cause every night I will save your life.